SCP Foundation has created some of the most scariest creatures. To believe they are being kept away in a facility is a hard statement to believe, but after reading some of these guys, I hope they really have good security because these creatures are none like other you've ever seen before. So today I did some digging and found the top 10 scary SCPs you don't want to encounter. I'm your host Andrew, and let's get right into it. At number 10 spot we have SCP-106. Although this has the name Old Man, don't be deceived from their age. SCP-106 takes the appearance of an elderly humanoid in the advanced stages of decomposition, so it doesn't look like it's doing too well. The SCP is one that many underestimate due to its appearance, but its sharp mind makes it a more efficient killer than anyone we've ever seen in history. This creature causes a corrosion effect, which basically means that whatever he touches will corrode and rust. As well, they're able to pass through any object, in which they leave behind a large patch of corrosive mucus. If you are unfortunate enough to cross paths with this monster, it's said that they will take you to the pocket dimension, which is a separate space and time where this SCP will toy around with you until you pass away, as it can do anything it wants in this universe. This creature is so notorious for its killings and malicious behaviors that it has to be monitored 24/7. Much of it is due to the fact that it hibernates for months at a time, not moving a muscle. But the moment they take their eyes off it, it will show that it will start twitching and moving, and slowly it will cause destruction once again. At a number 9 spot we have SCP-087, the Endless Staircase. Yes, this SCP is an entire staircase, but it's not your ordinary one. This is said to be a stairwell located directly in the location of the SCP Foundation facility. The doorway leading to SCP-087 is constructed of reinforced steel with an electro-release lock mechanism. As well, this is a staircase that never ends. So if you happen to be walking down these menacing steps, you will find yourself doing it until you pass away from exhaustion. It's said that subjects that go through these stairs report the sound of crying at least 200 meters below the initial platform. As well, SCP-087-1 is a creature that is said to lurk these stairs. The crying that can be heard is said to be from this creature who is attempting to lure people down these stairs. The odd thing about this creature is that when they attack, they don't look at their victims. Instead, they stare directly into the camera of the facility, as if they're trying to intimidate the higher ups at the SCP Foundation. At number 8 spot we have SCP-2718. This SCP is probably the most scariest one in my opinion, because it deals with something that all of us must go through, and that's death. Specifically, this SCP deals with the knowledge of what death is and what happens in the afterlife. For those who don't know, basically there was a man, a part of the O5 community in the SCP Foundation, who didn't want to partake in immortality, which all the other members had. So one day he passed away and his body was left to rot in the middle of the woods. However, the committee wanted more information from him and had already offered him immortality, in which he denied. So they decided to find him and resurrect his body. When he came back to life, he was very cautious about death and wouldn't go anywhere without his bodyguards and an entourage of medical doctors. This is all because he found out what happens after death, and that is that the dead remain conscious after their bodies have completely shut down. In other words, once a person passes away, they are completely aware of their surroundings. They begin to see their bones and their skin decay while lying down in a cold casket for eternity. Ever since its finding, the SCP Foundation has tried their best to hide any information regarding this. And even on the website, the number of this SCP is ever changing, always trying to hide its true knowledge. At number 7 spot we have SCP-682, Hard to Destroy Reptile. This SCP is said to be a large reptile-like creature with unknown origins. Apart from looking like a distant relative of the crocodile, these creatures are much more devastating. First of all, they are practically indestructible, as they show no apparent weaknesses. And second, they hate humans with a passion and are known to go on killing sprees wherever it goes. And if you try to attack and hurt this SCP, then it will regenerate itself within minutes. And if you think you can outrun it, it'll catch up to you before you can even think about running away. This creature has escaped containment a total of 6 times and has killed hundreds of staff during his time at the facility. This creature was so powerful, they needed a whole other SCP named SCP-204 to come down and even slow it down. At number 6 spot we have SCP-993, Bobble the Clown. This SCP is a psychotic clown that held a very dangerous children's game that taught youngsters aged 10 and under how to grow up to be insane serial killers. Yeah, those who were over the age of 10 that saw the show would be put in a comatose state until it was over. Some of the things in the show that he taught included torture, mutilation, and in some episodes, cannibalism. So you can see how this would have made an entire generation of child killers. The clown was able to have 5 of his episodes aired until the SCP Foundation took notice and locked away all of his tapes. The Foundation has wiped all traces of the Demented series off the map, but Bubble appears to know this and is quite cross with them. In a new episode that appeared out of nowhere, Bubble glared angrily at the viewer for the entirety of the episode's time slot. Right in the hump for our list, we have SCP-049. A popular entry among SCP fans is SCP-049. At first glance, he looks like a man dressed in a typical plague doctor outfit, with a black hooded robe and a silvery ceramic mask with a long bird-like nose. But it's since been found out that this attire is an extension of his body being fused permanently to his flesh. 049's intent is on ridding the world of the disease, which has yet to elaborate on, and he selectively chooses patients to operate on. His touch is fatal, and when he has a cadaver to work on, he opens them up and begins to mess around in them with a strange set of medical tools and serums. After sewing them shut, the patients will reanimate, but they aren't the same. They then lack high brain function, they stumble around until they find another human, where they would go completely nuts and tear their target apart. 049 is smart enough to speak, but usually chooses not to do so, and when he does, he rarely deviates from the subject of curing the disease. At number 4 spot, we have SCP-978, Desire Camera. If you're a photographer, you're gonna hate this one. SCP-978 is a Polaroid camera, but not like any Polaroid camera you know. Whomever or whatever you take a photo of, the photograph won't show where they were when you took the photo. It'll show them doing what they desire most. When tested on staff members, for instance, most of the pictures show them being elsewhere, doing something more pleasant, or buried resting at last. It sometimes gets tested on other SCPs, which is an element that makes many SCPs more interesting to read about. For example, SCP-451 is a man who cannot see, hear, or otherwise detect any other living being. This has driven him to absolute madness, and he even tried to take his own life. When taking a photo of him with the Polaroid camera, it showed him smiling like never before, surrounded by the people he could see and he could talk to. At number 3 spot, we have SCP-4666, the Yule Man. SCP-4666 was first brought to the Foundation's attention in 1974, though the reports of the entity date back all the way to 1498. Forces are deployed if a family is suspected of being targeted by this SCP. In 2018, this SCP inflicted harm on a child and she was rushed quickly to the hospital, where she was interviewed by a Foundation researcher. She told him that she, along with many other children, were abducted in a bag. They were then brought underground to a series of tunnels where this SCP forced them to make gruesome toys. If they stopped working at a time, even by falling asleep, they were denied any sort of food or water and were tortured. However, when a child is no longer able to make toys, they're added to the materials used to make them. The girl got sick and could no longer work, so this SCP had others make her into a doll, rendering her unconscious until she was delivered to her next family and rushed to the hospital. At number 2 spot, we have SCP-939, With Many Voices. SCP-939, also known as With Many Voices, is a species of bright red amphibian predators, each as large as a large person, weighing more than 400 pounds. They don't appear to have any vital organs, as they don't appear to have a nervous system, heart, or digestive tract. And their elongated heads have no eyes and have a large set of glowing eyes. Despite being completely brainless, they have a terrifying hunting strategy. They may replicate previous victims' sounds, generally repeating desperate phrases to entice a good Samaritan to come to the rescue, before dispatching them with a well-aimed bite. They also emit an amnesia-inducing chemical, so if anyone is fortunate enough to avoid being consumed, there's a good possibility they won't recall what recently happened and will be duped by the creature's trickery once again. All the way at our number 1 spot is SCP-096, the Shy Guy. This is probably one of the creatures on this list that would cause complete destruction if it was left out. SCP-096 is a bone-white, hairless humanoid with long, gangly arms and legs. This creature has one trigger, and that's for anyone who looks at its face. This creature has blank eyes and a mouth that can stretch up to 5 times the normal size of a regular person. If you see it for a few seconds really far away, it goes crazy, flailing its arms while crying before violently hurting the person that looked at it. So far, there hasn't been any obstacle it can't get past, smashing through steel doors and walls, running endlessly across huge distances, and even managing to swim to the very bottom of the ocean to pluck out an offender in a Foundation-controlled base. To avoid any meltdowns, the Foundation usually places a bag on its head, but accidents happen and have happened. So let's hope this one never comes back out. Well, these are the top 10 scary SCPs you don't want to encounter. I'm your host, Andrew. What do you guys think about this list? Leave a comment down below, and I hope you guys have a scary day.